There is a hidden rule in human psychology that most people never understand until it's too late. In relationships, respect does not come from kindness alone. It comes from presence, boundary, and a subtle aura of unpredictability that keeps the other person from ever assuming they have full control over you. Psychologists like Adler and philosophers like Machiavelli understood something that modern relationships have forgotten. Being loved is fragile. Being feared, yet not hated, is the true foundation of lasting influence. Because fear without cruelty becomes gravity. It pulls attention toward you, silently, constantly, inevitably. In the mind of a manipulative partner, this principle manifests as a deliberate calibration of presence and distance, warmth and coldness, accessibility and opacity. They never reveal everything. They never give the full map of who they are. Their mystery is intentional. Their silence is loaded. Their calmness is a message. And the partner who stands before them feels it even without understanding why. It's not intimidation. It's recognition. An instinctual awareness that this is someone whose boundaries are not negotiable, whose self-worth is not up for debate, and whose emotional stability cannot be shaken. Fear, in this psychological context, is not terror. It is reverence. It is the awareness that crossing certain lines will have consequences. Not yelling, not violence, not chaos, but consequences rooted in self-respect. In psychoanalytic terms, this is the controlled dominance field, a phenomenon described by analysts who observed how certain individuals maintain emotional authority without ever raising their voice. Their power resides in what they won't tolerate, not in what they demand. When the manipulative mind seeks respect without hatred, it uses a strategy orchestrated around silence, timing, and emotional restraint. Silence is not passive. It's a message that cannot be misquoted. The moment they don't respond immediately, the partner begins to wonder why. The moment they withdraw into their thoughts, the partner feels a sudden shift. That shift is the psychological lever, the space where the partner begins to value their presence because it is not endlessly available. Scarcity creates worth. Abundance creates complacency. Every behavioral economist would agree. In relationships where one person holds a quiet aura of power, emotional scarcity is never accidental. It's measured. Not too much to create distance, just enough to create awareness. Not enough to push the partner away, just enough to keep them attentive. It's an emotional thermostat. Change the temperature by 1 degree, and the entire atmosphere shifts. This is why people obey limits they were never verbally given. The atmosphere itself communicates the rules. Being feared, not hated, relies on controlled disclosure. The manipulative mind never reveals every emotion they experience. They reveal only those that serve clarity and stability. When they speak with calm precision instead of emotional chaos, their partner feels it. Calmness, when combined with assertiveness, becomes dominance in disguise. A controlled voice is more frightening than a raised one, not because it threatens danger, but because it signals self-control, and self-control is the ultimate psychological power. In the work of Nietzsche, and later in the theories of Erich Fromm, the idea appears again. The one who needs the other the least is the one who shapes the behavior of the relationship. A manipulative personality uses this truth with surgical accuracy. They never appear needy. They never chase validation. They never fear losing the other person. That lack of fear creates an imbalance the partner instinctively responds to. People fear disappointing someone who doesn't depend on them. People chase those who don't beg to be chased. Respect is born from emotional independence. Hatred is born from humiliation. And manipulators avoid humiliation at all costs. They do not plead, they do not nag, they do not repeatedly try to convince. They simply state a boundary, observe the reaction, and withdraw if necessary. That withdrawal, calm, cold, and unapologetic, is what creates the aura of someone who is feared, but not hated. because the partner senses something. This person's absence would hurt more than their anger. There is a psychological phenomenon known as affective primacy, which shows that humans respond more strongly to emotional signals than to verbal ones. So the manipulative personality sends emotional cues: silence when crossed, distance when disrespected, warmth when valued. They engineer the emotional climate in which the partner learns, I must not cross this line, not out of fear of punishment, but out of fear of losing equilibrium. Even their affection reinforces respect. They are generous in ways that feel rare. They give attention that feels deliberate. They show affection that feels earned. Their presence becomes a reward, and the partner begins to behave in ways that protect that reward. Behavioral psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. Philosophers call it influence. The partner simply calls it connection, unaware that the dynamic has been designed rather than discovered. The manipulative mind knows this. People respect what they cannot fully predict. Predictability invites comfort. Comfort breeds carelessness, and so they maintain a slight unpredictability, never chaotic, never mean, but untamed. A moment of profound attention followed by a moment of reflective silence. A day of deep presence followed by a day of personal space. A look that says everything followed by a calm boundary that closes the door on disrespect. The partner learns these rhythms subconsciously and behaves accordingly. The art of being feared, not hated, is not loud. It is subtle. It is not aggressive. It is controlled. It is not about dominance. It is about psychological influence shaped by self-respect. In relationships, the individual who refuses to bend too far becomes the axis around which the dynamic rotates. And the manipulative personality understands this better than anyone. They do not fight for the throne. They become the throne, steady, unmovable, a reference point the partner cannot help but orient themselves around. And in the quiet moments, the partner feels something they may never admit. Not fear of the person, but fear of losing the person. Not terror of punishment, but terror of disappointing someone whose respect feels meaningful. That is the deepest form of psychological authority. When the partner chooses to behave in alignment with your boundaries, not because you force them, but because they fear losing the version of themselves they become around you. This is the cold elegance of relational psychology. The place where self-respect becomes influence, influence becomes presence, presence becomes gravity, and gravity becomes fear. Soft fear, quiet fear, the kind that makes someone think twice before hurting you, not because they fear you, but because they fear the consequences of their own regret. If you want more truths people fear to confront, subscribe now. Like and share to help this reach the ones who need to wake up.